Well, in today's class, you'll be learning to find the missing angles using inverse trig ratios with the help of a TI-84 or online Desmos calculator. Well, let me show how to use the calculator. So first, turn it on, and the first step is okay. The first step is you have to go to the mode button, mode. So here I'm clicking on mode button. So when you click it, then the display shows that I think it's not really clear. Yeah, let me use the light. Okay, I think it's better. Now, if you click on the mode button, what happens is you'll be able to see that by default it is set to radians. Now you see that it is flashing, and use the cursor keys and move this one to degrees, and then enter, enter. Then later on, you can quit either by pressing a second mode button, or else you can clear the screen. So that's how we activate the radiance part. And next, let's go to the whiteboard, and here let me give you a scenario. Like say that a right angle triangle is given. In the previous class, we discussed how to find the missing sides. So let me quickly take one example on how to find the missing sides. Let's say that this is some 30 degrees. This is 30 degrees, and say that this is some 12 feet, and what is the length of the hypotenuse. Already we discussed these kind of questions. So first of all, we have to identify what is known and what is to be computed. Here in this triangle, angle C, which is 30 degrees, this is the reference angle. This is the reference angle. Therefore, AB is the opposite side. AB is the opposite side. Okay. And next, what to find means this is the hypotenuse. All of you are familiar which is hypotenuse. The side opposite to 90 degrees is known as hypotenuse. You know that. Therefore, where do you find opposite and hypotenuse means? Think of SOHCAHTOA, then TOA. Let me take this one, which is here opposite. Let me change the thickness so that will be more ups. Right. Say this is opposite and this is hypotenuse. Right. Therefore, where do you find these two? Where do you find these two? Like you see that opposite and hypotenuse. These two, I see that in SOH. Therefore, sine, let me take the angle here, it is 30 degrees. So sine 30 degrees equals to, here, if I write this one, it is OH. Therefore, opposite side to 30 degrees over hypotenuse. So these kind of questions already we discussed, so I'm not going to spend much time. So opposite side to 30 degrees means that is AB, and what is hypotenuse? AC. And what is the value of sine 30 degrees? At this point, I'm going to use my TI-84 calculator, and just I'm clicking on sine here. You can see that I'm sorry, it is too flashy. So let me turn off the light for a second. Okay, so here you see that sign button at the in the middle. So let me click sign, and next I want 30 degrees, so 30. Then press enter key. Press enter key. Then you get that, see, yeah, sine 30 equals to 0.5. So let me make use of the value 0.5 in the place of sine 30. And what's the value of AB means? You see that it is already marked as 12 feet. And what's the value of AC? That is not known. So let's say that AC. Or maybe if you want, you may make use of a variable. Let's say that X. Okay. Now at this point, you know how to find the value of X. So let me eliminate X, or let me eliminate the denominator by multiplying X on both the sides. Therefore, you get that 12 equals to X times 0.5. In fact, I discussed these kind of questions in my earlier lesson. So you know how to find 0.5. So the value of X equals to 12 over 0.5. If you want, you can make use of calculator. You'll end up that X equals to 24, which means, the value of hypotenuse, that is 24. That is 24. So the value of hypotenuse is 24. Okay. Now, just imagine a situation. Let me copy this diagram to the next page. Now, here, just I'm assuming that, let me say that here, I don't know the angle. This time, just imagine that you have been given two sides. One is the opposite side as 12 feet and hypotenuse is given as 24. Already we computed in the previous page. So just assume that here the opposite side is given as 12 and this one is given as 24, and assume that here the angle is missing and you are asked to find the angle. Okay, so again I'm using SOHCAHTOA, and already I discussed that several times which trig ratio you have to use. In this case, we know that we have to use sine. Okay, so sine C equals to opposite side to C over hypotenuse. Now let me plug in these values. Opposite side, which is AB, that is 12, and hypotenuse, that is AC, which is 24. Sine C equals to. If you want, you can simplify, or else what you can do is, please pay attention, this is the important part. You move C to the other side of the equal to and move this value here. What are the number? Let it be a decimal or a fraction or a whole number, whatever it may be. Okay, so you swap these two values and write that sine 12 over 24 equals to C. But here at this point I'm going to include a small thing, that is the inverse symbol. That is the exponent is -1. Sine inverse 12 over 24. Now when you write this way, then you have to enter in the same way on either TI-84 calculator or maybe using a Desmos online calculator. Then I'll show the process here. Suppose if you are using TI-84, what you have to do is, you have to, while computing the inverse trig ratios, you have to click the second button, and then followed by sine. If it is cos, then you have to press the second cos, the second tan, and so on. So if you want to compute inverse sine, then second followed by sine. Okay, then you see that when you press that second followed by sign, then you see that here -1 comes in the exponent form. Let me clear the screen and let me show once again. So you have to go to second, on the calculator, and then sign. So when you click that, what happens is then sign exponent is -1 appears. And I hope you know how to type the fraction. If you are not sure, then once again I'm showing. You have to click on alpha key here, followed by y. So alpha y, then it will ask whether you want a numerator or denominator. Then you can press enter key. Then you see there. So I remember the numerator is 12, and use the cursor keys to come to the denominator. Then type 24. Once I'm done typing this one, then use the cursor keys, move to right side, and then close the parenthesis. Let me show once again. Say that you want to type sine inverse 12 over 24. So first you start with second, and then punch on this sine key. Then you see that sine inverse. Then how to get the fraction means here you see that alpha key, then followed by y. Then it will ask what kind of fraction you want. So just you can choose the number 1. Okay, then I'm typing 12. Once when I finish typing 12, then use the cursor keys and go down, and in the denominator 24. Then once when you are done, then use the right side cursor key and close the parenthesis. Then you see that it is 30 degrees. You see that the value of this one, it is 30 degrees, right? Therefore, here, whatever you got, the value of sine inverse 12 over 24 equals to, it is 30 degrees. By the way, I know that my answer is correct. The value of C is 30 degrees. How do I know means? Just go back and see that in the previous question we started with 30 degrees, right? So my answer is correct. In case if the same sum is to be done using a Desmos calculator, what to do? So let me jump to the Desmos here. What you have to do is on the left bottom you see that show keypad. So use your laptop or PC, then use your keypad and type sign, then followed by here you see that a to the power of b. Click here, then type -1. Now you got sine inverse. Once when you are done, please remember to click on the right key. You see that on the screen, functions, under that there is a right arrow key. So you click on that, then you are coming out of the exponent. Otherwise, if you don't do that, what happens is what are the values you type, it's going to the exponent. So you'll end up with the wrong answer. So to avoid that, use the right key, and whatever the value is given. I remember it is 12 over 24. Then close the parenthesis. Then you see I got 0.52. I know that it is supposed to be 30 degrees, right? Here I purposefully made a mistake. You have to go to the right top. Don't forget, every time when you log in or when you use the Desmos, go to the graph settings on the right top. Then here make sure that it is on degrees. By default it is on radians, and click on degrees. Now you see that here 30 degrees, right? Okay, now let's jump back to the whiteboard. This is how we use either the TI-84 calculator or Desmos calculator to find the value of the angle. Okay, let's discuss some questions. Let me copy question 1. Well, here this one seems to be slightly different. It's given that arc sine. Arc sine means it is not something new. You are asked to find the inverse ratio. So it is same as the inverse trig ratio, how I explained the previous question the same way. So here arc sine means it is same as sine inverse, sine inverse. Don't read this as sine to the power of -1, sine inverse 1/2. Already we discussed how to type this one on a Desmos graphing calculator. So let me jump to the Desmos graphing calculator, and here let me clear this one. So once again, I'm typing sine using my keyboard. Then inverse means I'm using a to the power of b. Then here -1 in the exponent. Don't forget to use the right arrow key. Then the value is 1/2. So just type 1/2. Oops, I'm sorry. So when I type it straight away 1/2, it's going in a wrong way. So please use a parenthesis 1/2 and use the right arrow key. Then close the parenthesis. You see that it is 30 degrees. Already we computed this one earlier. Therefore, it is 30 degrees. And coming to the next one, sine inverse √3/2, sine inverse √3/2. So let's go to the next one. So sine, I'm using a to the power of b key, then type -1, use the right arrow key, then open parenthesis. It is √3/2. So I'm using the square root symbol from the keyboard. Oops, bad. So I'm using square root symbol, then 3, then use the right arrow key, denominator is 2, and use right arrow key and close the parenthesis. And you see that this is 60 degrees. 60 degrees. You can see that it is 60 degrees here. So it is 60 degrees. Okay. Questions. If you have any questions, you can email me. Then let me go to the next one. These questions are same as the previous one. So let me go to my Desmos again. Let me clear off all these things. And this time it is cos inverse 1/2. So cos, then let me use a to the power of b key, then type -1, use right arrow key to come out of the exponent, then type the parenthesis part. Oops, it is 1/2. Use right arrow key, then close the parenthesis here. You see that it is cos inverse 1/2 equals to 60 degrees. So let me write the value as 60 degrees. I'll do one thing. Instead of fractions, let's take maybe some decimal value. Let's say that 0.837. Just some number I'm taking randomly. So this time I'm using my Desmos again. You know how to type cos inverse. Don't forget, you have to use a to the power of b key, then type -1. Again, I'm reminding you, don't forget to click on this right arrow so that you'll be coming out of the exponent, then open parenthesis, then what are the values? Is 0.837. So let me type is 0.837 and close the parenthesis. See that it is 33.1753, blah blah blah. But in my opinion, after decimal, 2 digits are fair enough to take. So it is 33.17 degrees. So it is 33.17 degrees. Then, any questions on this? Well, let's go to the next page. Now this time tan G, this time decimals are given. So let me go to my Desmos calculator. Let me type tan. Then you know how to get inverse a to the power of p minus 1. Then don't forget to click on the right arrow. Again and again I'm repeating, but you may tend to make a mistake. 2.3548. 2.3548. Then close the parenthesis. It is 66.99. So you may round it to 67, or else you can take 66.99 degrees. So it is 66.99, or it is rounded to the value of angle G equals to 67 or 66.99 degrees. In the same way, sine H is 0.9998. Therefore, let me type sine exponent is -1. Use right arrow key, parenthesis, 0.9998. Oh, so it is 88.85. It is 88.85. If you want, you may round it to 89 degrees. So the value of H is approximately equal to 89 degrees. So we discussed about sine, cos, and tan. These are slightly, they're not difficult. They're little advanced questions. There are two parts in this question. So the first part is which are inside the parenthesis. I hope you remember the PEMDAS rule. So which are inside the parenthesis, that is to be attempted. So let me take sine inverse 3 over 5. What is the value of sine inverse 3 over 5? Oops. So sine inverse. Let me go to my Desmos. Let me clear up all these. So sine inverse, I'm using a to the power of b key to type inverse, that is -1 in the exponent. Use right arrow, then parenthesis, the value is 3 over 5. So let me type 3/5 on the keyboard. Then what else? I got 36.8698. So 36.8698. Actually, after decimal, as I mentioned before, just 2 digits are sufficient. To get more precise answer, I'm taking 4. Now, what is the value of cos 36.8698? So let me type. The next one is cos parenthesis. Please notice that here, don't get confused. Here there is no inverse. Please see that for cos there is no inverse sign. So just I'm typing whatever is there, cos 36.8698. If you want, you can copy from the above result, maybe more digits 7, 6, 4, 5, 8. If you want, you can copy that one. So this is 0.8. This is 0.8. So in fact, yesterday I explained that how to use the Desmos calculator to type to get the value of any sine, cos, or tan values. Okay, so there are two parts here. What you are supposed to do is first you have to solve which are inside the parenthesis, So suppose if you take the next part, so this part, that is sine inverse 2 over 7, is to be computed. What are the result you get? That value is to be copied. Here, and then you have to take cos, and here you have to compute. Okay, so I'm giving about 2 minutes of time for you to solve this one using your Desmos calculator. Your time starts now, and I'll be quiet for 2 minutes, then I'll disclose the answer. Well, let's go to the Desmos. Let me show the process. Sine inverse 2 over 7. Sine inverse 2 over 7. So sine, I'm using a to the power of b key. Then typing -1. I'm using my right arrow. Then it is 2 over 7. And it is 16.601. Therefore, it is 16.601. Then what is cos 16.601? So it is, let me enter cos parenthesis 16.601. If you want to get more accurate value, you may copy from the above result 9599. Then 0.9583. So it is equals to the final result is 0.9583. 0.9583. You know, there is a shortcut. The shortcut is straight away you can type the entire question in the Desmos. How is it possible? So let's go back and let me enter here. So I see that cos, then parenthesis. So let me type cos followed by parenthesis. Then inside the parenthesis sine inverse. Then it is sine. Then let me use a to the power of b key inverse. Then come out of the exponent part. Then again parenthesis 2 over 7. So let me open parenthesis. It is 2 over 7. Then close this one. Actually, I opened 2 parentheses, therefore I have to close twice. And you see that, do you see that the same here? Observe carefully. You see that 0.9583, whatever you see here, the same thing. So just let me take a screenshot of this one. So, okay. Well, so right. Now let's discuss this one on the whiteboard. If you observe carefully, if you want, you can do this one separately, like whatever the value you want, like part 1, you can compute what is sine inverse 2 over 7. After that, whatever the value you get on the Desmos, you can copy it here. You can see that you can copy it here, and then again, then you can type cos value. Or else, whatever the question is given, straight away you can type it on the graphing calculator, I mean Desmos. So just type whatever is given, then you'll get the final answer straight away. Okay. Now let's discuss some word problems. Before going to that, do you have any questions? Well, if you have any questions, please feel free to send an email. Well, one word problem. What is the angle of depression from the top of 65-meter cliff to an object 48 meters from the base, from its base? You know, I personally prefer to visualize the whatever the scenario is given. So let me draw a freehand sketch. So what is the angle of depression from the top of a 65-meter cliff? So just I'm drawing a cliff and an object from its base. Okay. Always I try to visualize this way. Let me assume that I'm standing here, and what is the angle of depression? Please remember, angle of depression means the angle formed between a horizontal line and the line of sight. So that this is the line of sight. If you are looking from top to bottom, then we call this one. I mean, top to bottom is from the top position, and if you are looking an object which is at the bottom or which is lower, okay. What is the angle of depression? So the question is, what is the angle of depression here? Let me assume that this is x degrees. From the top of a 65-meter cliff, therefore this is 65 meters to an object which is 48 meters from its base. Let's say that here is the object. Let me label this as A, B, and C. Say that the object is at point C, and the distance is 48 meters from its base. So here is the cliff base, that is B, and this is 48 meters. 48 meters. Now, you know, if two lines are given parallel, let's say that these two lines are parallel, okay, and the line which is intersecting, this is known as what do you call this one? Do you remember? Transversal. Okay, so these two lines are parallel. Now, I hope you remember that. Oh, just a moment. Let me change my transversal so that we can connect to our current question. So let me draw the transversal this way. Anyhow, it makes no difference. Just I thought of making a connection to our current problem. Well, so here, what do you call these two angles? Do you see any relation between these two angles? If you want, I'm giving a small hint. The hint is one angle is pointing to the right side and the other angle is pointing to the left side of the transversal. Think for a moment. Yes, they are alternate interior angles. You know that these two are equal in measure, alternate interior angles. Suppose if it is say 50 degrees, the other angle is also 50. In the same way, if one is 60 degrees, the other angle is also 60 degrees. Let's say angle A is 70 degrees. Just randomly some numbers. Angle B is also 70. You know that interior alternate angles are equal. Therefore, I see that here in this diagram, these two angles are interior alternate angles. That is, if this one is x degrees, then obviously angle C is also the same. That is also x degrees. So if you are given angle of depression, then you may consider this one as an angle of elevation also. Okay, so now you are asked to find what's the value of x means. I see that AB is the opposite side. AB is the opposite side to the reference angle x. So this is the opposite side. This is the opposite side, and we know BC value. Please remember the angle which is drawn, sorry, the side which is taken next to the angle, this is known as adjacent. Adjacent, right? Now think of SOHCAHTOA. Think of SOHCAHTOA. Already we discussed in the previous lesson which ratio we have to take. Which ratio we have to take. Now think for a moment. If you know opposite and if you know adjacent side, which ratio you have to take? Think for a moment. Well, yes, it is tan theta. It is tan theta because we know SOHCAHTOA, therefore T O A. I see that the first letter of opposite is O, the first letter of adjacent is A. Therefore, O is here and A is here. Therefore, in SOHCAHTOA, I have to take a TOA, which is tan. Okay, so tan x degrees equals to opposite side to x degrees over adjacent side to x degrees. So opposite side, I see that it is 65 meters and adjacent is 48. Okay, tan x degrees. This is slightly different from the previous questions what we discussed earlier. What you have to do is, again I'm repeating, x is to be taken to the other side, and whatever the value, let it be a decimal or a fraction or a whole number, these two values are to be swapped. When you do that, you get tan 65 over 48, that is coming to the left side of the equal to sign, and x is going to the other side. Don't forget, in this process you have to include inverse to whatever the trig ratio is there. So here I have tan, therefore tan inverse 65 over 48, that gives me the value of x. So let me jump to my Desmos calculator. Tan, let me clear all these things. So it is tan, then inverse, I'm using a to the power of b key, then -1 come out of this exponent, parenthesis, the fraction is 65 over 48, therefore it is 65 over 48, close the parenthesis, there you go, you got 53.55. So it is 53.55. If you want, you can round it to the nearest value, maybe 54 degrees. Okay, therefore the angle of depression, this one you have to write. So what's the value of x you have to specify. So it is angle of depression equals to approximately it is 54 degrees. Okay, any questions on this? Well, if you have any questions, you can email me. The last question: if a boat is 150 meters from the base of a cliff that is 90 meters high, so As I told you before, I prefer to visualize. So there is a cliff again, and next boat is approaching. So a right angle triangle is formed. Right angle triangle is formed. Okay. So here is the boat. Ooh, I'm not a good artist. Ooh, ugly. Well, no problem. And a boat is 150 meters from the base of a cliff. Therefore, this is given as 150 meters, and that is 90 meters high. The cliff is 90 meters high. What is the angle of elevation from the boat to the cliff top? So the question is, what is the angle of elevation of the cliff? So this is x degrees. Actually, I know that this is the opposite side and this one is the adjacent side. Already we discussed this kind of question, so I prefer to skip this one and take another question of this kind. If you are interested, you can do this one on your own. So let me skip this one and go to the next one. Well, in this question, at what angle to the ground is an 8 meters long conveyor belt? You see that this is the conveyor belt which is 8 meters long. If it is fastened 5 meters from the base of a loading ramp, here is the loading ramp and it is given as 5 meters. And the question is what angle? So let me consider this as x degrees. So first of all, let's identify the parts of the triangle. Let me label this as P, Q, R. Angle Q is 90 degrees. Therefore, the side opposite to 90 degrees is the hypotenuse. Therefore, PR, this is going to be the hypotenuse. Right? And next, QR is given as 5 meters. And I know that the side next to the angle other than hypotenuse is going to be, this is going to be the adjacent side. Okay. Now, as you know that if I have to take adjacent and hypotenuse, think of SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA. So, you know, in SOHCAHTOA, CAH, which means I have to take a cos theta, right? So cos x degrees equals to SOHCAHTOA, so CAH. Therefore, it is adjacent side to theta over hypotenuse. So adjacent side is 5 meters, hypotenuse 8, and cos x. Please don't forget, in this kind of questions, what you have to do is you have to move x to the other side, and what are the values given that is to be moved here. So you have to swap these values. When you do that, then cos 5 over 8 x degrees the other side. Don't forget to keep the inverse sign to the trig ratio. Don't forget to keep the inverse sign to the trig ratio. Now let's go to the Desmos. Oops. So let me go to cos. Then let me click on a to the power of p, -1. Use right arrow key, parenthesis. It is 5 over 8. That's giving me 51.31. 51.31. Therefore, the value of x is 51.31 degrees. Here I did not take the nearest value, because in industries etc. the angle should be really precise. So here I say that what angle of the ground is, so conveyor belt here, the angle of elevation is 51.31 degrees. That's it from me. If you have any questions, feel free to email. So let's quickly summarize. You have to use either Desmos calculator or TA84 calculator in order to find the angles. Okay.